Last week, the Tennessee Oilers were fighting for their playoff lives. Veteran kicker Al Del Greco made a 41-yard field goal with 4 seconds left to defeat Jacksonville and keep the Oilers in the playoff picture. In Green Bay, a question. Is this the last home game for two of the men who helped put the title back in Titletown? Mike Holmgren and Reggie White might be competing here for the last time. The Packers have clinched the playoff berth, but the main focus at Lambeau will be a tribute to two more names who will live in the Packer mystique. We welcome you to historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, a rather unusual meeting between the Tennessee Oilers and the Green Bay Packers, the two franchises meeting for only the 7th time. Green Bay in the playoffs for the 6th straight year. They got there by virtue of Tampa Bay's loss yesterday. The Tennessee Oilers are alive for a wild card spot, but they face a must-win game today, as well as next week against Minnesota. Hi once again, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Randy Cross. What a perfect setting for a holiday season game. And what a perfect tribute to Reggie White that was said a moment ago, his last game here.
You know, Reggie really stamped this city as a place to come. People said, Green Bay, who wants to come there? He came as a free agent and made it all right. This defense, though, has to cut down on the big plays for the team to go very far in the playoffs. For the Packers offense, it's about Brett Favre, and it's about Brett Favre not throwing interceptions. He's forced the ball at times, and that's been very, very dangerous for this offense. For the Tennessee Oilers, plain and simple, Steve McNair, their quarterback, has got to find a way to make plays, not only throwing the ball short, running the ball and scrambling, but he's got to find a way to get the ball down the field to his wide receivers.
Oilers have won 2 in a row. They need to make it 3 and 4. Back with the kickoff from Lambeau in a moment.
All right, so let's go. All run it. Let's go. Only on 3. 1, 2, 3.
26 degrees, winds out of the northeast at 5. The wind chill a comfortable -1, and the forecast for snow flurries should continue throughout the afternoon. And the normal sellout crowd is here. Craig Hendrick, who is a former Green Bay Packer, bothered by a groin injury now. Some question whether he would kick off, but he's going to give it a shot. It'll be Roel Preston at the 5. And the Pro Bowl return specialist breaks it out to the 38-yard line. Brett Favre comes on in quest of a 4,000-yard season. 27 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. His offensive line has Ross Burba, Marco Rivera, Jeff Dellenbach replaces the injured Frank Winters, Timmerman, and Dotson. In the backfield, Dorsey Levens, who missed 9 games from injury, joined by William Henderson, Freeman and Derek Mays at the wideout, and Mark Demura, the Pro Bowler, at tight end. Ball spotted back at the 37, first down and 10, a handoff. Dorsey Levens works his way out near the 40-yard line, goes down just short at the 39 by Joe Bowden. Defensively for the Oilers, Bowden is in the middle, and a rather anonymous front four. Pratt Lyons, Gary Walker, Henry Ford, and James Roberson. Bowden, the anchor in the middle. Lonnie Martz and Eddie Robinson on either side. And in the secondary, Marcus Robertson, emergency appendectomy on Thursday. He is not here. Steve Jackson starts in his spot. Second down and 8. Quick flip left side, Antonio Freeman. Out to the 43-yard line, knocked out of bounds by Darrell Lewis. Jeff Fisher, in his 6th season as the head coach of Tennessee Oilers, and Mike Holmgren, of course, now 50 years of age, came here back in 1992.
It's got a lot from the Tennessee defense, and what Jeff Fisher likes to do against an offense like Mike Holmgren is he's going to get 8 people in the box. He's not going to get 7 people and say, oh, heck, we're okay against the run. This is a defense that's taken the run away from the last 4 opponents they faced. They want Brett Favre to beat them passing. 3rd and 4. Freeman out of the backfield. Favre tries to run open Freeman. And he's on his way.
at the 20 in for the touchdown. He's playing with a broken jaw. He decided to risk further injury with the Lambeau lead. Well, Jeff Fisher told us, look, I'm going after Brett Favre. I'm going to blitz, and I'm going to take my chances. He took his chances, and Brett Favre made him pay those chances with a touchdown. Great patience by Brett Favre on an all-man blitz. Ryan Longwell for the extra point. High snap. Doug Peterson gets it down. 28 touchdowns lost of the season for Brett Favre.
Every year at this time, folks at Southwest Airlines get together to cook dinner at the Ronald McDonald. It's a special home where families can stay while their seriously ill children undergo treatment at a nearby hospital. The Ronald McDonald houses are Southwest Airlines' primary charity. Thanks to your support, these children receive a special gift every day of the year, a gift of hope. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
And a Merry Christmas to you too.
Adamstown, Pennsylvania, a true story. At a flea market, a man bought a phone for $4. When he brought it home, he made a $2 million discovery, an original copy of the Declaration of Independence. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck, or you can depend on us, Sun America. Ask about our personal retirement portfolio. And don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
No matter what you drive, Pep Boys has over 40 custom name brand wheels. Now get 4 white spoke wheels from American Racing for only $99. 4 truck wheels just $99. Plus use your Pep Boys credit card, get 90 days in cash. Pep Boys, cars like it, people love it.
Give your handyman the VersaPack Combo Pack. Cordless tools that give them so much power. And just maybe too much of a good thing. Get the cordless Combo Pack. Powered by VersaPack, built by Black & Decker.
Decker versus a broken street light. Will his neighbors help fight City Hall?
Stay away from us.
Leave us alone. Die. Decker. Okay,
That's one undecided.
all new CBS Monday.
Antonio Freeman made the first Pro Bowl earlier this week. Celebrates with a 57-yard touchdown grab on the third play from scrimmage in the ball game. And the Packers on top 7-0. Ryan Longwell, the kick it deep to Mike Archie or Rodney Thomas. It will probably be Archie. And it is. Archie at the 2. Comes right, gets a block. Turns the corner and is down at the 24-yard line. The tackle made by number 27, Michael Blair. Well, it was a great play call by Mike Homer and Sue. Watch Gerard Walker right here, the defensive back. Look, where are we going? Derek Bays goes out. Antonio Freeman was the motion man. He comes inside. Nobody home. Good game planning. Great call from upstairs and Sherman Lewis, the Packers offensive coordinator. Antonio Freeman suffered a broken jaw a couple of weeks ago, missed the game, came back last week in the win over Chicago, celebrated with 8 catches for 103 yards. Now, McNair and the Oilers trailing by 7 in the snow at Green Bay. The handoff to Eddie George finds nothing. Bernardo and Harris, number 55, the middle linebacker, fills the hole. McNair completing his second year as a starter, playing with a severely injured left toe. Left big toe. Offensive line, and the focus will be on the right tackle today, John Runyon, who goes up against Reggie White. In the backfield, Eddie George, the H-back Whitecheck, Yancey Sigben and Dyson, the wideout. Jackie Harris, the former back for the Packers, is the tight end. 2nd and 10. Quick set for McNair, but he throws it in front of Jackie Harris, his tight end. Defensively for the Green Bay Packers, Mike Holden has said, I'm very happy with the front 7. White, Dotson, Brown, Booker, and the linebackers are Koontz, Harris, and Williams. He is not so pleased with the secondary. It's the weak point, he said. And Darren Sharper moves over to cornerback to start today for an injured Craig Newsom. Reggie White, 16 sacks this season. And Reggie White takes Scramble down playing real wide to try to take that scramble away from There's the rush from White, gets a little pressure, and Scott McGarren nails. It's incomplete as he gets there and nails the intended receiver.
That really was not even fair when you set a receiver up like that, and Ray McNair had no choice but to dump it off into the flat. Good coverage downfield, a little pressure coming from the defense, but McGarren just had him in the crosshairs the whole way.
Roel Preston to return the Hempers kick. Fair catch called at the 32-yard line. Packers score in 3 and then force the Oilers to run 3 and punt. 44-yard punt, nothing on the return.
CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Ford Taurus, Ford, built to last. And by IBM, are you ready for e-business?
Packers have the ball for the second time. Favre found Antonio Freeman 57-yard touchdown. 28th TD toss this season for Brett Favre, aiming for 30 for the 5th straight year. 1st and 10, backs in the eye. And off Dorsey Levens, comes left, picks up, he may have lost the yard at the 31-yard line. And let's check in with the other member of our commentary team. Here's Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Vern. Well, Mike Holmgren told me just before kickoff that he could only bring himself to watch the last couple of minutes of Tampa Bay's loss yesterday. He said he was both surprised and relieved. He said, I know the Packers can make it to the playoffs on our own, but I appreciate the help since we've been a little bit inconsistent. And now he said this allows him to get a few of his players healthy, but that resting of players he's had will have to wait until next week, Vern.
All right, Michelle, 2nd down and 10. That's very smart by Holmgren, too. This has not been a smoothly executing football team on the offensive side. Favre looking deep, goes down the sideline for Copeland. Russell Copeland just picked up a couple of weeks ago, and he is well covered by Steve Jackson, number 24.
You don't expect Jeff Fisher's defense to stop blitzing because of that one big play, though. He's always been a coach back in his days with Buddy Ryan in the old 46 defense at Chicago, where he played for Buddy, and then in Philadelphia, where he coached with Buddy. That's the way he works. He is an attacking coach, but he's got to get the responsibilities down and hold him to him really a curveball by bringing a back out of a wide receiver out of that back position.
2nd and 10. 3rd and 10, beg pardon. 7-0 lead. Back to Brett Favre, back 3-man rush. And Favre will struggle. Slides for the 1st down at the 44-yard line. It's going to be close. He may have initiated the slide prematurely. No. They've now indicated he got the 1st down.
It was a pretty good spot by the officials there, I'll tell you what, because Brett Favre, they're getting a 3-man rush. They're getting no pressure. They're dropping off in a zone blitz to see Henry Ford, the defensive tackle, in the middle of the screen. Now watch where the ball is when Brett starts sliding. It's not where he slides to, it's where the ball is when he starts that slide. That is a generous spot.
1st and 10. Back flip. Packers lead it 7-0 early moments of the game. Across the middle. Incomplete at the 45-yard line. That one intended for Garrett Mays. Robert Brooks is on the inactive list today. He's been battling injuries at that wide receiver spot all year.
They've been battling injuries the entire season. This football team has been beat up, but one consistent player has been Mark Tamura, and Mark Tamura, the tight end, has now got an ice bag, a little something working on his leg. It looks to be in that calf area, and this is the one player on this football team that has not been hurt.
And that is the diagnosis provided from the medical staff, strained calf. The injury for Tamura. He's doubtful to be back in the game. Here's Levens across the 49 to the 50. Dorsey Levens broke a leg and had an ankle injury back early in the season.
Well, this is the missing ingredient for the Green Bay Packers to do anything after the next 2 weeks in the playoff push. Dorsey Levens in the running game provides the running game that provides the play action pass. And he's got the power in the legs are back, but the conditioning's not back. He says, I'll never get in football shape in a couple of weeks. He's been so far. I just got to just sort of suck it up and know it's going to hurt.
3rd down and 2. Levens breaks over left guard. 1st down Green Bay at the 46. Tackle made by Blaine Bishop, number 23. Go back and take a look at the injury to Mark Severo.
Well, this is a broken ankle. Watch the leg of Dorsey Levens. This is not pretty. But you see the foot get trapped. The ankle get ripped up. The fibula actually high, and the leg was also broken. It's all the more amazing he's back and he's playing. At over 100 yards last week. It's just incredible.
And a first down for Green Bay. Levens gets more work. Goes right. Zimmerman provides a bit of a block, and Levens down for 41. He said this past week, because his backup Derek Holmes had been bothered by a shoulder injury, he got all the reps in practice, and the ankle really became sore.
Well, it is, and it's something that's going to be sore for the rest of the year, the amount of work he's going to get. But the fans here at Green Bay at Lambeau Field have come to expect this type of offense, the big pass play and the consistent running play. And are they as happy and as warm as they look? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a crowd knowledgeable-wise for football fans. They don't come any better than this. They come a little better dressed, but they don't come smarter about football.
2nd and 7. Scrambles, caught, and dropped. It'll be 3rd down. Josh Evans and Kenny Holmes, the defensive lineman. Get to him. Brett Favre playing in his 108th consecutive game. That's only 8 short of the all-time record held by Jaworski. Brett chatting with us yesterday said it is probably his proudest achievement as a Packer, the length of that career.
And what you saw in that last play, too, is something you've seen out of Brett Favre an awful lot this year, and why it's even more amazing that he stays healthy. He's had to hold the ball more, and he's taking more hits. In the last year or so, this guy has taken some wicked blows.
3rd and 8, Brett Stone. Here comes Bishop. And there goes Favre. Blaine Bishop drew a bead on Brett Favre and got there.
Well, Blaine Bishop, he wears number 23, and he's going to come from the outside after Brett Favre. And yeah, they list him as a safety, but Blaine Bishop makes enough tackles and hits hard enough. We got to put him in the category of a pocket linebacker. He's only about 5'8 and a half, but nobody brings it more aggressively from the defensive back position than Blaine Bishop.
John Landetta on the punt. Derek Mason is the deep man. He slips, comes back, gathers it in at the 14-yard line, and is dropped at the 15-yard line. The tackle made by Mike Pryor. Among those who've established the history of the Green Bay Packers, legendary coach Vince Lombardi. Lombardi, of course, coached this team to 5 titles in 7 years back in the 60s. The most famous championship game of which was the Ice Bowl on December 31st, 1967. They defeated the Dallas Cowboys. Reggie White, a Maryland then.
And you were here watching on that frozen field.
I was here at, my late teen years.
I'm Maryland.
Yeah, right. Second possession for the Oilers. McNair will have to scramble, and he's got a lot of room as he goes left. He slides down. Now, Jeff Fisher telling us last night, Randy, he needs to get 50 yards rushing out of Steve McNair.
And there's nothing less than heroic about what Steve McNair's been doing when you consider how painful that turf toe is. And unless you've had one, you can't appreciate how bad it is. It's difficult to push off, and he says I have to really force myself more when I'm throwing the ball to step into my passes. You see that plate on the top of the shoe there that's specifically designed just so people can't stomp on it and make it feel worse. But it hurts him every step he takes.
Gain of 14, the handoff to Eddie George, and George finds the going difficult at left tackle. He gets to the 30 and runs into the immense presence of Gilbert Brown.
Well, Eddie George, big physical running back, runs very upright into the hole. Watch Gilbert Brown, number 93 right here, working against Lehman. Just gets a little shoulder on Eddie George, and Eddie George is really seriously going to have to learn to run a little lower. It's only been a couple of years in the league, but he still has to learn to run a little lower. There'll be a lot of Gilbert Brown pops in his future.
Second down and 9. Eddie George weighs 240 pounds. There's a quick flip. Left side is caught by Yancey Sigben. Off-season free agent acquisition from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has missed 6 games with an injury. Monday on CBS. Ever wonder how bad a blind date can be? Watch this one and be glad it wasn't you. See the show the critics call the near-perfect synthesis of Seinfeld and Raymond. It's the King of Queens, Monday on CBS. I'm guessing the King of Queens couldn't spell synthesis. First and 10. After the Big Ten catch 7-0 in the snow in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Play action, McNair goes left, pulls up, fires it out, and it is caught by Frank Wycheck, who came into the game with 57 receptions at the tight end position.
Hey, what he does really well after he catches the ball is fight for extra yardage like that play. And what these fans at Lambeau Field have really come to expect out of their defense is good, solid, steady play. Their coordinator, Fritz Shermer, is very much a guy that really has been the bend but don't break. Don't take the big chances. This year he's taken more chances, and this year this defense has given up way more big plays than they usually normally used to.
Second and 6. Blitz coming by the Green Bay Packers. McNair, his receiver slipped as he made his cut at the 45-yard line. Joey Kent, number 86.
Well, one thing about this field, too, it has been replaced a time or two with this so-called new age type of turf. Well, this new age type of turf and this kind of weather conditions has turned into new age dirt. And it doesn't grip real well. These receivers and these players are going to have to really be careful of how they run and how they grip on this field, because as you can see, there's a lot of green there, but a lot of that came out of a can.
3rd and 6. 7-0. Packers lead. Blitz coming. Carroll coming from the corner. Slant pattern. Yancey Sigpen can't hang on. It'll be 4th down.
Hey, Reggie Jackson has got to be this quick receiver for Jeff Fisher. He's got to be able to do this quickly and make this catch, and more importantly, McNair has got to be able to get him this ball in this situation. Good tight coverage by Sharper, but in that situation, that should be a completion and should be a 1st down.
Craig Hendricks spent the first part of his career here in Green Bay, became the first $1 million punter when signed by the Oilers, and he was punting for the 2nd time. He was having a sensational season. He would go to the Pro Bowl. This one, however, though lengthy, comes out to the 20 following a touchback. 55-yard punt. Nothing on the return, so deduct 20 from the net. And give the Packers the ball. Welcome to the big game. Let's go. Oh, baby, let's go. There's a tough new face in the NFL.
You got rookie?
Now we'll never get presents to all the boys and girls around the world. No boys? Folks in the hand? Nice hat. Ooh, hey, Christmas. Glad I could help. You can do that from UPS.
Ramada and Holiday Inn may look similar. So at Ramada, we do our personal best to attack even the smallest problems. At Ramada, nothing bugs us like imperfection. For reservations, call 1-800-2-RAMADA.
There's a tough new face in the NFL.
The Lato question of the week.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Rocky Road.
I got it. I said Rocky Road.
Don't miss John Travolta. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the NASDAQ MX Market Group, the market of markets, and by Circuit City. Low prices all over the store.
Never an empty seat at Lambeau, no matter the weather. They're all filled today, and the Packers lead by 7. Favre puts it on his hip after a play fake. Across the middle, Freeman goes down to dig it out of the dirt, and he's trying to sell it now. He's selling hard, and it looked like that ball skipped before Freeman got it. I thought he was selling.
The best view of that play, too, comes from the umpire, who, when that ball is thrown, immediately turns and spins and looks. Look at the wind affect that ball and bring it down. And that ball is trapped against the surface there, trapped against the, I'll call that ground, I'm not going to call it grass. And the wind pushes that thing down as it goes down in there. Antonio Freeman does a great job of trapping that thing, and even a better job of selling it afterwards.
Yeah, I bought the used car.
But that is with the wind, and with the wind, the ball will be forced down.
2nd and 10, Green Bay. Here comes the sun and a blitz, and Dorsey Levens works his way out near the 24-yard line. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Vern, you guys were talking about the condition of the field. In early warm-ups, the Oilers coaches were concerned because some players were slipping. It's not because of the snow. It's because of the sand. This turf requires regular sprinklings of sand that make it rather loose. So the coaches were emphasizing to the players to keep their center of gravity low and run low.
Now, the players have taken to calling it the beat.
Yeah, like you don't have enough stuff to worry about if you're Jeff Fisher and the Tennessee Oilers about making the playoffs and having to beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Now you got to center this guy. 36. Far across the middle. Levens dropped it. Flag up at the 40-yard line.
So the flag's thrown well away from the ball. And we'll see Bill Carollo as our referee today. Penalty against the Oilers.
Illegal contact.
Illegal contact. Number 58. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Joe Bowden working in his linebacker spot. Watch him right here in the middle. Part of the problem is working against Thomason right there with that tuck down the field, well past the 5-yard time, and the official called that penalty. But let's also note something. Thomason, 83, is now the only tight end on the roster with Tamura out with that sprained calf. Because Tyrone Davis, 81, was inactive as of Friday.
Back to the eye, 1st and 10. Levens goes right with William Henderson providing a solo convoy. And he's out to the 33-yard line. This is the NFL Online, and see if your favorite players are going to Hawaii for the Pro Bowl at NFL.com or on America Online at keyword Team NFL.
And when you know the field's kind of bad, look at this. You start getting divots that stick like that. Usually a grass divot will hang there for a while, then it'll fall off.
Right.
You're talking sand and dirt.
See how long that little puppy stays.
Well, when you're a kid, it's a mud pie.
Favre scrambling. Goes up, goes deep, got a man. Freeman wide open. Antonio Freeman. Foot race. Touchdown. 68 yards. His 2nd of the day.
The key word when you're playing defense against Brett Favre is discipline. You can blink, but you must have defensive discipline. And Jeff Fisher's defensive backs were told all week, if Brett Favre moves, you keep track of the receivers, you stay on his big gun, they let a big gun go.
Longwell's extra point. Jackson and Bishop let him go. Freeman more uncovers and can't read a bit.
Here's Freeman and Darrell Lewis. Remember Michelle Tafoya's new age football tip? Keep yourself centered. Well, Darrell Lewis gets a little uncentered. He falls down. That wasn't a lack of discipline. That was a lack of being able to stand up on the field. And Freeman took advantage.
Longwell's kick. After the 68-yard touchdown, Mike Archie for the Oilers to the 30-yard line. Antonio Freeman now with 12 touchdown catches this season.
Brett Favre scrambles out, makes them go downfield. And when you go downfield to Antonio
Antonio Freeman, just flat forget about it. I don't care if he's got a broken jaw or what. He gets his 29th touchdown pass to Brent Barnes, and Barnes sneaking up on something pretty special. He did his 30th touchdown pass there today. He's become the first player to throw 30 in succession 5 years in a row, or 30 in 5 years in succession. Look at that. Not a bad start. That's one wheel reception in 2 weeks. First and 10. Play fake, McNair, and he's to the 40. To the 43 to the first down. Bernardo Harris makes the tackle for another 14-yard gain. Jeff Fisher, the head coach of the Tennessee Oilers, will try anything. You're going to miss receptions. You're going to also the counter-state physical quarterback taking some runs down the field. And 14-0 lead or not, I guarantee you one thing, you will be a harder-hitting, tougher, more resilient football team than Tennessee. First and 10, McNair to White. He's to break the tackle with flag. He might have a face mask on George Kuhn. Absolutely. Now it's a matter of whether it was a quick brush across the face mask, which is 5 yards, or a legitimate tug, which would be 15. The grab on the face mask, the turn and the spin of the head, whether he actually had the front of the mask or not, is the spin of the head that told the official 15 yards on George Kuhn's tackle. That gives Tennessee a first down at the 37-yard line. Final 2 minutes first quarter. Ball play to Eddie George, and he rumbles left. Down to the 32-yard line, Brian Williams, number 51, with the tackle. Now the seventh meeting between these two franchises, and one of the anomalies in the records of the two teams, the Oilers have won all 3 selections. The last time we were here, 1980. There were 2 things to know that 3-0. Coaches up here. Their names weren't Lombardi and one of those guys. There's Eddie George again going left. Brad Hopkins and Whitecheck trying to provide the block. He gets inside the 30 to the 29. Well, next Saturday, NFL Today at 3:30 Eastern Time. And that will be followed by the Kansas City Oakland telecast the day after Christmas, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Randy and I will be out there. And you can see it on HBTV where available. Final 48 seconds of the first quarter. 31, Tennessee with its deepest penetration of the quarter. Good run blocking line for Tennessee. Keep the pads low in this situation. Quarterback keeper. And McNair goes left behind Bruce Matthews. That's a pro bowler. That's a guy that's all pro all the time. That's a guy that has a great shot at being a future Hall of Famer. Why not go to the path of least resistance, because he's usually behind Matthews. But you look at Steve McNair, watch his legs. Good block by Stepnoski, good block by Matthews, and good drive by McNair. McNair is a linebacker trapped in a quarterback's body. That gives the Oilers a first down. Bruce Matthews named to his 11th Pro Bowl earlier this week. The end of the quarter. We'll be back to Lambeau Field right after this message and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Lambeau. Starting the second quarter. Packers on top. 2 touchdowns. Brett Favre, Antonio Freeman, Reggie White, in all likelihood, playing in his final game at Lambeau, his 6th season as a key member of this Green Bay Packer team. And they've been in the playoffs 6 years in a row. First and 10. Just coming from Green Bay, and a flag that is dropped. So tight end Rowan jump. Michael Rowan, number 80.
ready to snap. Ball start. Number 80. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Mark Shimura strained calf early in the ball game and heading for the locker room. And again, offensively, Tyrone Davis on the inactive list with an injury himself to Jeff Thomas, and the only tight end for Green Bay when they get the ball back. Mike Holmgren. Is this his last game at Lambeau Field? And the play clock winds down, forcing McNair to burn one of his timeouts. Tennessee calls time. We will get the second quarter started. It's just going to take a little bit.
In our quest to learn even more about how people watch TV, we sent out our experts. Both of them.
Romeo, oh Romeo, warum denn Romeo? Verleugne deinen Vater, deinen Namen. Tust du das nicht für dich zu meinem Liebsten?
Germans don't do romance. They do beer, sex. The best of us Germans do best.
In case you forgot, you're supposed to eat stuffed crust backwards. With a ring of cheese sliding with the crust, it's the most fun you can have with a pizza. Right now, the larger one topping is only $9.99. Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof.
What's the worst here?
I'm not housebroken.
To find out more about how people watch TV, we sent our experts. Both of them.
Woody.
The result? RCA TV, the guide plus gold. The revolutionary on-screen guide that lets you find what's on faster and easier when you just can't wait.
Broncos. 49ers. Cowboys. America's team is back when the Magnificent Seven return CBS Friday, January 8th.
Back amidst the snow flurries of Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the Packer fans enjoying this one in a festive mood. I somehow feel like I'm in an episode of Northern Exposure.
I have a little bit of both going on, actually. But for Tennessee and Jeff Fisher, these fans are watching an offense suddenly call a timeout in that situation after an illegal procedure. They had 3 delayed games last week. Jeff Fisher told us, hey, look, that was on the coaches. That was our fault. And right there, they were late getting the play, and Reggie Jackson had to call that timeout.
First and 15 as we start the second quarter. McNair, good protection. Finally goes right when Reggie White comes north on Santana. Dutson is chasing him out of bounds. George Coos comes over the hill. McNair has been the most potent offensive weapon in the early going for the Oilers.
And the good thing about Steve McNair is not only his patience, but the fact he was able to move out of the pocket with that bad toe. Look at Runyon working against Reggie White. That is a nice job blocking Reggie White that long. And keep on blocking Reggie White when you get a shot against him. Runyon's a young offensive lineman, 6'7", 325, working against Reggie, who Reggie has to give a little size up to. And Runyon's one of those nasty guys. He'll take some shots on Reggie. He doesn't care if his last game at Lambeau.
Second and 9, draw play. Eddie George. Last 5 games, Eddie George has found the yards difficult to come by. Highest total 67 yards. That's a terrific start. See the difference in the first half of the season, even more than the first half.
You think now that I've got more of a regime, more of a whole training deal going on after game 8. I work out and I lift and I eat better and I do a lot of different things. And part of that's the fact that people are aware of Eddie George, and part of that is the fact that, I think Eddie George takes that beating and his body really hasn't held up for him in the second half of the season.
Out of the shotgun, the blitz coming from Green Bay on 3rd and 8. McNair has a man open. Wait at the goal line, and the catch is made by Derek Mason. Touchdown Oilers. A 25-yard cross from McNair to Mason.
Well, folks, it's a crummy field on both sides of the ball. Because Steve McNair gets this ball up in the air. It starts floating. Terry Cooks is back as a safety. He stumbles on the field, and Mason makes the catch. That ball was going sideways. That ball was helicoptering in this wind by the time it came down and Mason made that catch. But great concentration, and sometimes you just flat got to get lucky.
Another former Packer, Al Del Greco, who's having a terrific season, hammers home the extra point. The Oilers strike through the air. McNair to Mason. It's a 14-7 ball game.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Citizens. Today more than ever, Citizens have the world tells time. RCA, changing entertainment again. And by Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
Early moments of the second quarter on a very cold day. That's bad insulation. You know, you had to sewer up the cracks on a house when the steam starts leaking out around the edges, and George Coons' steam is leaking all out over. Here's the kick, and it is taken by Preston. Back to the 28-yard line and down at the 29. Let's go back and take another look at the touchdown for Tennessee. Nowhere else in America it seems you get these great shots like this. There's Steve McNair throwing this kind of a pass here at Lambeau Field, and watch the footing. It's good for one. It's not good for another. And a reach for the ball. But everybody talks about the ball kind of helicoptering in and how it came floating down a little bit sideways. Look at the ball going wobble, wobble, wobble. Great job, though, by Mason of adjusting it when he saw the wobble. It wobbled and he didn't fall down. First down and 10, 14-7. Dellenbach, corner. Took the field and over the head of Derek Mays, almost picked off by Darrell Lewis. Well, you know, McNair is not the only quarterback that can move out of the pocket. Brett Favre is by design forced out of the pocket and has Mays wide open. And you see the way that Mays' head kind of snapped right around real quick? Because that head was going back to Brett Favre, kind of look back and say, what's up with that? I'm out here in the flat. I'm around all these unfriendly people, and you're going to throw it up to me that high? If he gets one more today, he becomes the first quarterback in NFL history with 5 seasons in succession of 30 or more. Up the middle, goes 11 to the 35-yard line. That'll leave a third down and 4. Monday on CBS, more and more people are discovering that everybody loves Raymond is the funniest show on television. Find out why. Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central, right here on CBS. 14-7, 13 minutes to go. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the Packers leading by 7. Favre has it off 11. 1,400-plus yards a year ago. A broken fibula this season as well as a bad ankle. And Denard Walker, forces the punt on 4th down. Oh, Denard Walker, too, another one of the injury guys, you know, for the Oilers. He spent 24 hours in the hospital getting antibiotics for an infection down in his ankle. And Jeff Kissinger says it's been that kind of year. I mean, we've got guys doing things like that. And, you know, Walker's out here and he's playing with that kind of an injury. And the concentration, it's an important game to these Oilers. They're not letting the injuries keep them out of this football game. Lance Della to punt. Derek Mason awaits it at the 20. This one bounces and goes to the left. Out of bounds at the 25-yard line. 37-yard punt, nothing on the return. And we return to Green Bay after these messages.
Some Masters on CBS Sports.
It was the late John Facenda, while narrating for NFL Films, who coined the phrase the frozen tundra. This is like one of those little globe things you shake up for wintertime for simulated snow, but there's nothing simulated about this place now. Oilers first down and 10. McNair Fires it. It is caught by Wycheck at the 29-yard line. Well, one of the strange things about this season is that this is the first real cold weather game the Packers have had at home thus far this year. November 1st, 50 degrees against the 49ers, 60 on the 29th. Last week, a balmy 42, and today, 26. Second and 6. Eddie George to the 31-yard line. Keith McKenzie from the 95 makes the tackle. Well, let's check in with Jim Mann back in New York.
All right, Vernon, Randy, it continues to be ugly on offense for the Steelers. Cordell Stewart hammered here. Sam Shade grabs it. He'll run it back for the touchdown. The Bluebirds are out at Three Rivers. 10-0 Cincinnati, second quarter. Back to you.
Jim, about the fact that you got to have confidence. You got to have swagger to be a quarterback. And we talked to him last night. And really Cordell the last couple of weeks. There's nothing confident or swaggering about that quarterback. He's in trouble.
Here's McNair in the play fake, looking deep, fires downfield, incomplete. Pat Carroll was covering and walked the flag, but Pat Carroll was all over the area receiver.
Okay, everybody on that Tennessee sideline wanted something in the way of a flag on that play. Here's Frank Wycheck. He told us, hey, I want to get a chance to block on Reggie White. He had a little bit of a shot, and Reggie couldn't quite catch McNair there, but the story was down the field because I think Pat Terrell must have received it.
No flag thrown, and Craig Hendrick on the punt for the third time. Roel Preston, number 88, camped at the 23-yard line. 14-7 in the snow in December in Green Bay. Here's Hendrick. Catch made by Preston. And counter punches out to the 45-yard line before Mike Archie makes the grab. Roel Preston with an 18-yard return. He's been out on the move. And his first Pro Bowl appearance.
There is no limit to where it can take you. A leather trimmed and preferred suede interior, heated front seats, and dual zone temperature control. Winner of the Total Quality Award for Best Ownership Experience. The most luxurious minivan you can buy. Chrysler Town & Country. We call it limited. You'll call it unlimited. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Now get $1,000 cash allowance or 1.9% APR.
Outstanding car pieces are built to run forever without replacing batteries, but only one of these is smart enough to run forever. On any kind of ride, Echo Drive from Citizen. Live at the speed of light.
Here's the 90s way to trim a beard. The 1890s. Today, there's the new Norelco Beard and Mustache Trimmer. With 9 adjustable settings, Norelco gives you the look you want. Norelco. Put it to the test.
Hey, what's the story with Tom?
What?
I heard he was crying like a baby because Monday Night Football's almost over.
You dumb moof. He wasn't crying. He was checking out the CBS Monday comedies and laughing so hard he had tears in his eyes.
He's laughing?
Fling like a freaking hyena. Cosby, King of Queens, Raymond, Becca. Forget about it.
He was laughing, huh?
You should have seen him. He had Chianti shooting out of his nose.
Chianti? That's funny.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars, and by Corbel, the official champagne of the Millennium Celebration.
Mike Holmgren might be moving on at the conclusion of this season. Reggie White will be retiring. He asked Randy Cross yesterday, when this season's over, I got to call you. You tell me how you lost all that weight.
That's simple. Work out more, aerobic exercise, and if it tastes good, don't eat it.
I've certainly followed your advice. Fake reverse, Barr fires it across the middle to Henderson. And the fullback booms down to the 43-yard line. The tackle made by Eddie Robinson. The gain is 14.
Well, the Tennessee defense is very lucky. Henderson doesn't get a bigger play. Look at both these inside linebackers, Bowden and Robinson, when they converge on the fullback, Henderson. 33 gets the ball jumped off. You got one linebacker falls. The other linebacker slipped on the other side. Good patient play by Brett Favre. It's not holding it too long. Favre is thrown for 2 today. He fires this one out to George Levin. Levin makes the grab. Tackle is made by Darrell Lewis, number 29. There's a little slow getting up.
Packers have controlled the ball for 16 seconds more than the Oilers.
Yeah, but those two two big plays. One on the blitz where Freeman came out of the backfield, and then the big slip. Darrell Lewis fell down, and Freeman got the other one. I mean, Brett Favre has got some serious passing going on in these type of conditions. 133 yards so far passing. Second down and 12.
And the Packers at the 43. 11 and motion to the left. Favre goes across the middle to his tight end, Jeff Thomason. And that's only the 5th catch of the season for Thomason. He's playing because of the injury to Mark Samura.
And when Brett Favre throws the ball, though, to a tight end, it's that because of that. You see that real quick pump. He wanted to throw it outside, and he had the patience to say, that's not open. Even my arm can't get it in there. I'm just going to dump it off inside to my tight end, Thomason.
3rd and 5, Green Bay with a 14-7 lead. Oilers bring 5. Favre is protected. Dances right in trouble and gets rid of it. He was pressured by Kenny Holmes, and Favre, he's been away.
And smartly, too, to get his fullback Henderson off into the flat. So he's a legitimate receiver somewhere in the general area, but you see Lyons is getting a little bit of pressure. You see Holmes is coming on the other side. Brett Favre has been getting these types of plays where he's had to hold it. He's had to hold it, and he's had to sit there. He's got to have more of the plays where he gets rid of it and doesn't drop the ball on the ground or give up a sack.
And with these swirling winds, Holmgren decides to go with Landeta in the punt. Mason will let it go over his head. It's going to be down at the 3. He has become the master of pooch punting in his 14th season in the National Football League.
That's not easy to do in this kind of weather.
No, it's not. Now there's a discussion among the officials at the goal line. Bill Carollo will give us the explanation.
The 45 were in the end zone, did not get back and reestablish. Touchback.
Look at the left forward. Watch the foot. The left foot of Terry Cook. Right there. It is on the goal line. Then he knocks the ball back. Oh, I don't know about that. The explanation was he was on the line and knocked it back. I think it's different. He was off the line. He had part of the job of knocking it back, but he wasn't the only one knocking it back.
As they say, nevertheless. McNair, Eddie George to the 23-yard line. Leroy Butler makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the CBS Sports Line question of the week. Who would you pick as the NFL top rookie performer? A or B, Randy Moss or Fred Taylor? Log on to vote at cbssportsline.com and on America Online at keyword CBS Sportsline.
That's not really too close, I think. Fred Taylor's done wonderful things for the Jaguars, but the big playability has made the night and day difference for the Minnesota Vikings.
13-1 at Minnesota Vikings. Second down to 6. The Oilers at 8-6 trying to win their 3rd in a row. Yards on the ground. Very difficult. Reggie White.
Yeah, Reggie White's working against John Runyon, and the young lineman's going to learn a little lesson. Watch the offensive line come off the ball. A straight arm, just stiff and jammed his line of scrimmage by Reggie White coming off and making that tackle. Just one of the lessons I think Mr. Runyon can take back with him when he watches his kids about playing with a Hall of Famer, trying to get the Hall of Famer Reggie White.
37 years old yesterday. The country group Alabama was here to celebrate and serenade him in the locker room. Here's McNair on third down. Finds his tight end, Whitejack. And he gets out to the 35-yard line. That will move the chains. A fresh series of downs for the Tennessee Oilers.
You know, throwing the ball-wise, Tennessee has been very effective today. It's running the ball where they've had the problem. And you expect this Green Bay defense to tell this offense, yeah, sure, you're going to run the ball on us. What we're going to have to do is you have to be patient throwing the ball down the field. And the poster guy for patience for this passing offense is Frank Whitejack, the tight end.
Whitejack, 4 catches, 22 yards. First down and 10 at the 35. The Oilers trailing 14-7. McNair looks deep left side, pumps, rolls out, gets a bit of a block, comes back across his body, and here's the catch made. It was a trap. It's Kevin Dyson, and it will be ruled incomplete. Dyson, the number 1 draft pick for the Oilers.
Wow, it's just such a nice job of McNair of escaping out of the pocket and getting that ball to Dyson. Look at the ball, look at the arm. From that angle right there, you got to see the hands got under it. Take it out again. Wow, it's really hard to tell on that whether or not that was a catch or not, whether or not the ball got there. But the reason McNair had to get out of there was Keith McKenzie was coming from his defensive end position.
Second and 10. Booker in at left defensive end. Blitz. Eddie George. Pat Carroll coming up defensively. And the pass incomplete. We check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, to prepare his team for this cold, Jeff Fisher gathered his skill position players at 7:30 Thursday morning when it was about 30 degrees in Nashville, and he had them pass balls from the dust machine, which he said they didn't like, surprise, surprise, but he did say they threw and caught as well as they ever had, so he told them he did not expect weather to be an issue today. Vern?
And I think he's absolutely right, Michelle. Only from the standpoint that, you know, this isn't really cold. It's great pictures, and it looks good, but this type of weather, all it really serves to do is make you focus in just a little bit tighter.
Third and 10. 3-man rush by the Packers. McNair can't find anybody open, and he is caught and dropped. Bernardo Harris. McKenzie with the initial pressure. 4th down.
Well, Fitzgerald's defense is taking up a picket line here and a picket line here and saying, look, if you're going to dump it, fine, but we're not going to give you a receiver to dump it to. Can't get it to Whitehead, can't get it to Dyson, can't get it to Harris. Good defense by the Packers.
Hendrick, flag is down, the punt is away. Preston lets it back at the 30, picks it up at the 25. That's the infraction, the flag thrown at the line of scrimmage. And the infraction against the Oilers.
Illegal motion, number 37, on the kicking case. That penalty is declined. Receiving ball, first down.
College basketball back on CBS next Saturday. Third-ranked Kentucky takes on Louisville in interstate battle next Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And that will be followed by the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Oakland Raiders. HDTV where available next Saturday. And that will be preceded by the NFL Today. First down and 10, Packers. 2 touchdown tosses, Favre to Freeman. Play fake for Brett Favre. Goes deep, drills it for Freeman, and it's incomplete. Blaine Bishop defending and stopping with Antonio Freeman.
Oh, look at the smile on Brett's face. He's just sort of looking over at Antonio Freeman because he was throwing that thing into a crowd, kind of one of those, go get it. Freeman kind of half-stopped and said, you go get it.
Antonio Freeman chatting with us about the strength of Brett Favre's arm. It gets there in a hurry.
It really does. And new receivers, of which the Packers have had quite a few this year with the injuries they've had, are absolutely shocked by how fast the ball can get up on them.
Second and 10. Marcella, Antonio Freeman. One-on-one. Bernard Walker, number 25.
Walker taking out of bounds.
Makes the grab. World champions in 1996 under Mike Holmgren. And the Green Bay Packers back in the playoffs now. Been a difficult year for them. 9-5. Started out 4-0, and they're 5-4 in their last 9 games. Injuries a big part of it. And Reggie White in his last game at Lambeau. He was the key to the turnaround when he signed here a 4-year contract April of 93. Third down. Barnes goes right. Derek Mays in a tussle with Walker and no flag throw.
You notice Bernard Walker got the heck out of that general area very, very quickly. He wasn't letting anybody reconsider a decision. And, you know, Derek Mays is working against Walker. Brett Favre, as we see so many quarterbacks do now, threw that ball short and behind Derek Mays, trying to get his receiver to come back for it.
Landetta's a punt, fourth. And he kicks it away. Derek Mason grabs it and goes up the far sideline out of bounds. And at the 28-yard line. Monday on CBS. Becker's cranking up when he gets a good night's sleep. So when the broken street line keeps him up all night, he goes on a one-man crusade to fight City Hall. Witness Ted Danson as Becker Monday on CBS. You think he's catching any? You can tell it's a bored kid at a football game. He's at Lambeau Field, the time of his life, and he's trying to catch someplace on his tongue. First down and 10. 14-7. McNair looks left, 2 wide receivers. Step there. Play fake. Goes deep left side. He's got a man open. Dyson, who had 2 yards, but the pass unstable in the breeze.
Well, it's with the wind. We keep making this point, but McNair does a nice job of feeding the ball way out to Eddie George and then throwing this ball down the field. When you get it up into this wind, not only is it going to wobble, it's going to sail a little bit. McNair probably thought he dropped that in pretty good till the wind got a hold of it.
A sail with a wobble is not good.
No, it's not. No, it's almost as bad as bad weather. The weather was bad on it, too.
McNair draw play. Eddie George. Boy, yards are tough against the Packer defense. Leroy Butler makes the stop. 4:10 remaining before the halftime break, and at halftime on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and Mike Lombardi. Special report of the Seahawks Santa, plus scores and highlights from this late season Sunday in the National Football League. 3rd and 11. McNair, a 3-man rush across the middle deep. Hit Brian Williams in the back of the shoulder, and it's incomplete, intended for Dyson.
I tell you, you really have got to like the job that Fritz Shermer's defense is doing here, because they know these conditions are the kind that you can really throw well under. Brian Williams is in the perfect spot to get in front of Dyson and have that ball bounce off his back. Shermer right there with the this kind of photo gray shades on is your defensive guru and genius for the last few years here in Green Bay.
Greg Hendrick, whose net average this season thus far 39.9, but that won't help him. It does go out of bounds, so there will be no return. There's a flag on the far side. And the penalty, the indication from Bill Carollo, it is against Tennessee.
Holding, number 48 on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. Receiving team's ball, first out.
A penalty against Mike Holmgren's receiving team.
So we've got 3:29 to go in the snow here at Lambeau Field just prior to the Christmas break. And kind of a neat place to come and watch the game.
It really is, especially with these teams playing the way they are. They're ignoring the weather conditions. Green Bay's in the playoffs. You would not know it by the way Mike Holmgren has played the football game. He has decided that I'm going all the way out to win this football game, and it's one that Jeff Fisher's Oilers absolutely have to have.
First and 10, far back. Comes right, caught by Levin. Gets a good block downfield from Timmerman, and Dorsey Levin scoots out to the 41. 18-yard gain, Adam Timmerman, number 63, with a nice block.
Well, you know, it's a great block by Timmerman, but when you're an offensive lineman out in that position, like Timmerman, 63 right there, watch the persistence when he comes back into the screen when he's blocking. He's blocking, his guy's on the ground, and that's why Dorsey Levin is able to cut back in, because Joe Bowden, the inside linebacker, is on the dirt.
Gain of 18. Levin goes left. Levin missed 9 games this year. Last year had a sensational season, 1,435 yards. That was only 39 yards short of the all-time record here. One of the oldest records in the history of the Packers, Jim Taylor, in 1962.
I really believe, and so does Mike Holmgren, that this can be a big surprise team in the playoffs when they start in a couple weeks, because they are starting to get healthier. They're getting the running game, and you're seeing how well this defense is playing.
2:13 to go before the 2-minute break, before halftime. Bard drills it on a line for Mays, and the catch is made at the 40. There's Mays in his third season. Steve Jackson with the tackle. The gain is 15. We've reached the 2-minute warning. Remember the old Packers? How about Ray Nitschke?
It looks nuts.
They've got a first down at the 40-yard line with 2 to go. How about the division of plays and time?
Well, it's been all about big plays. Jeff Fisher's defense has given up big plays, and that's the difference. That's why Green Bay's got the 2 touchdowns.
First and 10. Brett Favre closing in on another 4,000-yard season. But not on this play. He'll hand it off to Dorsey Levin, who is knocked down by Lonnie Marsh, number 51, at the 40-yard line.
And Brett, this is one of the reasons you say Green Bay's always got a chance. I said they got the running game working again. The defense is playing well. And Brett Favre needs 4 passing yards for his second 4,000-yard season. But as long as you got the guy they call the kill cannon from Kill, Mississippi, you got a fighting chance to win a football game with that arm behind you. Second down, officially 10 yards.
And Favre will throw. Across the middle. His tight end Thomason makes the catch, and Brett Favre has gone beyond 4,000 yards again. Among the many things to admire about Brett Favre is the joy with which he plays this game.
Honey, I'm going to Staples to pick up a few gifts. Be back soon.
Attention, shoppers. Looking for the perfect gift? Well, check out aisle 3 for great prices on Sharp Mobile Organizer. And save on Panasonic phones. No, not you! You! Yeah. And I, or any husband, would love one of those nice global chairs. I need a leather one. Get a leather chair.
For great gift ideas and over 7,000 items at guaranteed low prices at Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
1:19 remaining before the halftime break. Favre and Holmgren complete their conversation.
And talking to Brett the other day, you know, all the speculation about Mike Holmgren not being here after this game and it being the last game for Mike Holmgren at Lambeau Field. I said, hey, can you imagine looking over at that sideline and not seeing Mike Holmgren? And Brett basically said, not only do I really not want to think about it, but I couldn't imagine that sideline not having Mike there. But kind of like all things, because I won't be here one day, and I'm sure he won't be here one day soon also.
Mike Franklin back up center is a tight end. Here's Freeman into the touchdown. Houston, Foster. right up and through. Look at Antonio Freeman work against the defense of the Tennessee Oilers. He's burned him twice for big plays. Darrell Lewis had a little bit of a stumble again and couldn't bring Freeman down. 3 big plays, 3 big problems for Jeff Fisher's defense. And the kid from Kill, Mississippi, said yesterday morning he thinks he's having a pretty decent season. Yes, the interception number is up, but the touchdown number enormous again. And it's one thing people don't talk enough about is the great numbers Brett Favre has put up over the years. Throwing the passes like Antonio Freeman is getting us some pretty good gaudy numbers himself today. But here's a guy in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He's not playing in Miami or L.A. or San Diego or some of the other places you see guys throw for all kinds of yards. He's playing in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he's doing these kind of things. And he has started 108 consecutive games. And like you mentioned earlier, Bernie, he's the proudest maybe of that 108 games. He said that 50 or 60 was no big deal. Even 80 was Because I got to about 100, I started thinking, man, this is pretty special. Taken at the 4. Mike Archie across the 20 and down to the 23-yard line. Well, coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, we invite you to stick around for Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Ray Jones, and Mike Lombardi. They'll have all the scores and highlights. Plus, a look at how the Seahawks made a special wish come through. All coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. It was said at the beginning of the game, Vern, that the Tennessee offense had to find a way to make more of an issue of the defense of the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have done a nice job on defense, and Jeff Fisher's quarterback, McNair, has scrambled around, has thrown the ball effectively, but getting the ball down the field against a young guy like Darren Sharper at corner. You got Tyrone Williams on the other side. You've got to take it deep, but as soft as they're playing, it's going to be tough. Here's McNair, lets it go, Wycheck out to the 30-yard line. He stays inbound, and we'll see now if the Oilers decide to use one of their timeouts. Not yet. They have 2 remaining. 2nd and 3. McNair will operate from the spread formation. 4-man rush by the Packers. And McNair finds Rodney Thomas, number 20, who has slipped into the backfield replacing Eddie George. And Thomas is out of bounds with a first down at the 40. 35 seconds left in this half. They're on about the 40-yard line, which leaves them about 25 yards short of that first down. But see Thomas coming out of the backfield. And McNair moves, and he moves. And that's not a dramatic move in the pocket, but that's moving enough to buy yourself time to get the ball to your running back over the middle of the field. 35 seconds to go, first half. Eddie George back on the field now. 3-man rush by Green Bay. McNair fires it out to Yancey Sixten. And he stays inbound. Now a timeout is called. So the Oilers have 1 timeout remaining. Retiring after this season, his 20th season as a radio commentator. He and Jim Irwin have been together for the last 20 years, and Jim Irwin also retiring when this season is done. They'll be honored here at halftime. Imagine a sport coat. Yeah. Here's McNair getting loose, dragged down by Butler, number 36, at the 48-yard line. And timeout called. The final time by the Oilers. Steve McNair just is forced to make something happen. This defense will not give them a place to go down the field. Perfect execution by the Green Bay defense. This is where we're going to leave you. But then McNair uses that size and a little bit of that speed. Blows by Bernardo Harris before he can be brought down. He had to lose the last time out. But he got the ball past the 50. And I think it still sets up a situation where they can get the ball in field goal range. Jeff Fisher said he needed 50 yards looking out at McNair. He's gotten 45. But McNair can't help him at defensive secondary. And he comes back now 15 seconds before the break. But out here defense, you're jumping all over the out patterns and the outside. There's Fritz Drummer, the defensive coordinator. You know the offense is coming out. There's no timeouts, 15 seconds. They're trying to get about 10, 12 yards down the field, touch the ball, and get out of bounds. First and 10. Packers bring 3, drop 8. Pass completed, but they cannot kill the clock. 5. It's going to be, there's a flag down on the field, though. Here's Bill Carollo. 4 seconds. And remember, whatever win we have, Al Del Greco will have at his back trying to kick this long field goal. Del Greco's a kicker that deserves to be in the Pro Bowl. If not for that long field goal by Jason Elam that got everybody's attention, I think Del Greco would have been in the Pro Bowl. Well, we're not going to get the explanation. There's Al Del Greco. Now we are.
Number 42 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Darren Sharper. And with 4 seconds to go, quick snap and a spike. As soon as he wraps that arm, that clock's moving. There's the spike. So time for one last play. Al Del Greco, 33 of 36 in his 14th season. But this would be lengthy. Let's see if Jeff Fisher decides to take a shot with a Hail Mary. Well, Del Greco doesn't seem to be selling his case too hard about going for a field goal here. I happen to believe in this situation, he might be able to nail this thing, but Fisher's going to just do the Big Ben and run his guys down the field. A strong-arm quarterback like McNair, it's not a bad idea. They load up to the right side. And McNair lets it go. Battle in the end zone. Might have been picked off. Yes, it is. Intercepted by Rod Smith, number 31. Mike Holmgren and the Packers. 3 touchdown passes from Favre to Freeman. 21-7 coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Demand Marcus Allen, Red Jones, and Mike Lombardi. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Freeman still hooked up for those 3 touchdowns. Snow flurries continue here in Green Bay, providing a perfect setting for this pre-Christmas encounter. Here's Longwell with the kick, and it will be taken by Archie at the 6-yard line. Filled as he gets to the 29. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Bert, Randy, remember that controversial touchback call in the first half when Mike Holmgren politely continued to debate that with the officials as he left the field at halftime, but he told me he doesn't have a lot of complaints. He'd like to see his team run the ball better, and they will try to do that in the second half. As for Jeff Fisher, he said his team blew the coverage on Green Bay's first touchdown, and that the footing is terrible out here and has made things tough. But he said the Packers scored on 3 big plays. The Oilers need just 2 big plays to stay in this run.
All right, Michelle, first down at the 29. McNair with Eddie George directly behind him. Quick setup, he comes left side. Fires it out for a diving Yankee kickdown who cannot make the catch. But those are the type of plays that McNair and his receivers have to try to make in the second half, because Chris Silver's defense has done a great job of limiting the offense. They have told Steve McNair, you're not going to throw down the field. You're only going to have to throw the short little ones. That's why it's 89 yards. And on the other side, like Michelle said, Jeff Fisher talked about the footing. 11 of 18 for that many yards. Brett Favre for 3 touchdowns. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Second down and 10. Draw play, Eddie George. And he picks up 3, runs into Santana Dodson. Anytime you talk about this type of a situation where a footing issue becomes really a big deal in a football game, it's very much, I think, an advantage to the 2 groups. One is the guy that's used to this type of a field, where they're used to being centered, and they're used to having their balance a certain way. And two is the offensive player, the offensive receiver. He really knows where he's going. That's why you see defenders slip so much more often, is they're guessing, and the offensive player is positive where he's trying to go. 3rd and 5, Tennessee. They are 3 of 8 on 3rd downs thus far. That's Big Ben in motion. 3-step drop, and the pass a little too wide to Frank Wycheck. And he dives for it, can't grab it, and looks back at McNair and says, it's my fault. Well, you know, Frank Wycheck, though, is one of those receivers that has caught quietly in the last few years, about 200 and something passes. He thinks he ought to get everything, but that ball was way out wide on that left hand. That was, Frank might think that's on him, but Steve McNair has to put that one in the frame of his body. Roel Preston back to return. Hendrick's punt. Grabs it at the 11-yard line. Comes right. Good downfield coverage. Oh, boy. Terrific play by the special teams. Well, before there was Brett Favre, there was a man named Bart Starr, who was the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Led them to victories in Super Bowls 1 and 2.
Every year at this time, folks at Southwest Airlines get together to cook dinner at the Ronald McDonald House.
Request clearance for landing.
It's a special home where families can stay while their seriously ill children undergo treatment at a nearby hospital. The Ronald McDonald Houses are Southwest Airlines' primary charity. Thanks to your support, these children receive a special gift every day of the year, a gift of hope. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
And a Merry Christmas to you, too. The new Acura RL has distinctive styling to appeal to your elegant side. A performance-tuned suspension to satisfy your assertive side. And a sophisticated front and side airbag system to protect both sides. The new RL from Acura.
The center of a great PC experience is a Pentium 2 processor.
The two things to be sharing.
Complete with a fully operational slide-away canopy. Hey, golf balls.
Hold them up. Everybody loves Raymond, CBS Monday.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
13:49 to go, third quarter, 21-7. Brett Favre and the Packers have a first down. And a play fake from Favre. Scramble. And he's got a lot of room now. Brett Favre on the loose. Knocked out of bounds by Anthony Dorsett. And he's going to get flagged for 15 for unnecessary roughness. Yeah, Bill Carollo, our referee, was trailing the play. He was right on the line of sight as Brett Favre was headed out of bounds and Dorsett hit him.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 33, 15-yard penalty, first down.
We talked earlier about Brett Favre being in these situations, Vern, where he's had to hold it, and then dump it off at the end. Well, he didn't have to dump it off because just the great situations happen. Bodies are screened off, people are screened off, and as he goes to go out of bounds, Dorsett gives him that extra push. Watch 33 Dorsett. I mean, it's not necessary. The penalty is not on the viciousness of the tackle. It's on how necessary that little push was at the very end on a quarterback who's defenseless and heading out of bounds. Anthony Dorsett playing a lot today because of injuries. Normally, the special teams stand out where they are. And of course, son of the former Cowboy. And there's after the 35-yard run and the 15-yard penalty, the first down effort, and the run of Dorsey Levin. Dorsett, a 7th-round draft pick out of Pittsburgh, wearing the same number his dad wore with such distinction. Tony Dorsett on the sidelines, of course, when Ricky Williams of the University of Texas broke the old man, all-time collegiate rushing record. Easy on the old man. Pass from Favre is complete to Freeman. Well, Favre and Freeman have hooked up and had an outstanding day.
But two things have gotten this defense for Tennessee today. They've been very aggressive. They've been strong at times. But divots and discipline. Divots have made them fall. Discipline has given up some scrambles and some big pass plays. And right now they're just sitting and watching Brett Favre complete that one to Freeman. And 6 catch for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And with a broken jaw for Antonio Freeman. Levin stumbles as he gets through the line of scrimmage and is down at the 25.
Hey, part of that stumble there is an effect of the steal. It's a little bit soft, but also, Ghosty Levins is the first one to realize and talk about the fact he's not in a fantastic football shape. So when you're running in a softer field like this, it's a lot harder on your legs. And your feet don't seem to get as high off the ground when you're not in as good a shape. And when they're not as high off the ground in this surface, they're going to get tripped up.
Second down at 8. Levins, as we told you, missed 9 games with that broken leg and dislocated ankle. 100 yards last week. Here's the pass out of the field. And he is out of bounds at the 22-yard line, knocked there by Denard Walker.
Yeah, really, the biggest difference has been the big pass plays. And look at what Brett Favre has done down on, up at the top with these touchdowns. He hasn't gone all the way downtown often, but he goes in the middle of the field and he's gone right. He's completed them, and it's been all big plays when he's completed them.
Russell Copeland at the top of the screen, still left on third down. Far back. Not much of a rush. Scrambles right. Tries to skip on. Short of the first down at the 25-yard line. Evans, Denard Walker.
He got the stiff arm in, Vern.
But that was average.
Oh, it was a good stiff arm. He's a quarterback.
No.
I'm not kidding. We'll watch that coming up here.
All right.
Right there. Stiff arm.
It is pretty good.
It's a good stiff arm, right in the face. Of course, then the other defenders come in, Denard Walker and company. Yeah, a little left arm.
Yeah.
That's Gary Walker's no little tiny guy. He's stiff arm in there.
No, Bart Starr would be proud of that. The old Packers. Here's the field goal from Longwell. Everything seems to be going the way of the Packers in the snow at Lambeau Field. They increase their lead.
Luxury, performance, fit too. And by First Union, your guide to the financial world.
Christmas cheese.
Merry cheese to you.
And why not? It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Sort of green ag. There's a bad mug working there.
I tell you. Guy lives in a house without mirrors. Here's the kickoff. Archie. Out to the 25. And down to the 27-yard line. Flag is down at the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Lamont Hollingsworth. And Archie limping a little bit. This will be against the Oilers.
Holding number 55 on the return team. 10-yard penalty, first out.
Eddie Robinson.
Hey, when you get in these return situations, here's Eddie Robinson working right here on the right side of the screen. It's not blatant, but he's semi on the back. He's semi pushing. And it looked like Eddie Robinson had a little bit of an arm lock working, and it doesn't take much of the officials to see those little things happen to get a flag out.
Task beginning to get really difficult now. The uphill climb in the snow at Lambeau. This has been a terrific road team this year. They're 5-2 in a row, the Oilers. Well, as you said, Randy, they haven't had a home game in a long time.
If they thrive on bad road conditions, they got a bad one working here.
24-7, first down. Handoff, flag. And this will be a false start. Bruce Matthews. Talked about Brett Favre's 108th consecutive start today. Here's Carollo.
Prior to the snap, false start, left guard. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Bruce Matthews was a collegiate teammate of Jeff Fisher at Southern California back in the early 80s. Matthews starting his 180th game today.
Gotta love that hairstyle on Fisher there in the left. He's the only head coach player combination in the NFL, I can safely say.
First down and 15 after the penalty on Matthews. Eddie George knocked down as he gets to the 8-yard line. Keith McKenzie, number 95. Well, the Packers with that quick start, 4-0, and they've struggled since. Kind of been on a teeter-totter, but they are in the playoffs with a 9-5 record. In all likelihood, they will be the 5th seed, and in all likelihood, they will go on the road in the first round of the playoffs. Arizona plays this afternoon against New Orleans.
What a difference between the AFC and the NFC as far as wild cards. You go 500, you make the playoffs in the NFC this year.
2nd and 12. Reggie White coming from quite some distance. The pass incomplete for Sixten in front of Tyrone Williams.
This is a situation that this defense thrives in. Reggie White, these 6 years since he's been here in this defense, if they can get you back up, and they can get this crowd beat up the way it is right now, it takes communication away from the quarterback, and it puts a little bit of that thought in the back of the quarterback's mind. I know 92 is coming. I know if they're going to blitz me. I got a shot at getting Leroy Butler coming off the outside. This is hostile territory for your physical well-being if you're McNair.
And he has missed his last 5 passes. Quick setup, right side. Slips to tackle, and he's got a first down after the 26. Frank Whitehead.
That was just a case of I will not be tackled. It's all set up by a great job up front by the offensive line. You know, John Runyon working against Reggie White did a nice job there, but watch what happens when Whitehead catches it. McGranahan tries to grab him, and he is not going to be grabbed. Not only that, he decides to dive and do a little leaping for that first down.
That is a 6th catch for Whitehead. 17-yard gain and a 1st and 10 at the 25. Eddie George to the 27-yard line.
I'll tell you one thing this Tennessee offense hasn't done is they have not run the ball very effectively. And they have definitely not run the ball very much over at Reggie White and Gilbert Brown. I mean, you've got George has got 12 carries for 27 yards, a little better than 2 yards a clip. But he's not going after Reggie and his main man there, Gilbert Brown.
2nd and 8.
Oh, the size of that guy.
Blitz, play fake, and McNair steps up, delivers the ball, tipped away. Butler knocks it free.
Well, the reason Leroy Butler is able to do that down the field is the job that the defensive rush does. Reggie and Dotson and Gilbert. I mean, look at the guy coming up and collapsing the pocket. The pocket collapses. McNair's got to come up. And when it collapses, Leroy Butler is able to do that. So you got Reggie being blocked first by a tight end, then by Runyon. But in the meantime, Santana Dotson is collapsing that pocket from that side.
38. Complete to Derek Mason, who had a touchdown in the first half. And another 3rd down conversion. This time Mason's catch is good for a 13-yard gain.
This football team from Tennessee has given up some big plays. Has had every opportunity to get down and maybe get a little depressed, but you know, as Jeff Fisher knows, his football team is used to adversity,
Goodness knows the last couple of years in different places they've had to practice and play, it's been adverse enough even when they're home. But this team has got no quit in it. Don't look for this team to let down. First and 10 with 7:08 remaining. Third quarter. That's Wycheck in motion. He's got 6 catches today. McNair will run. Being chased by Harris. Caught by Harris, but another first down. And McNair turfs 0-0 with an 11-yard gain.
It's just amazing me more and more because, he does not inject that turf toe, so he feels every little bit of that. We talked earlier about the job the pass rushers are doing, collapsing the pocket. There, instead of collapsing the pocket gets by the quarterback. When defensive linemen go by the quarterback and he's got nothing in his face, the quarterback's able to get out and scramble like McNair is. And the rushing yards are starting to pile up now. 56 for McNair.
McNair with 6 carries, 56 yards now. And on first down, he comes left, incomplete. Intended for Michael Rome. 24-7 here. Let's see what's going on elsewhere in the league. Here's Jim Nance.
Well, Vernon Randy, the Steelers have come out in the second half, and finally the offense has scored for the first time since Thanksgiving Day. But as we speak, the Bengals have hooked up for a touchdown to Darnay Scott to go back in front. 22-21 extra point to come. Back to you.
All right, Jim. Tough year for both those teams. Pittsburgh on the verge of not making the playoffs for the first time under Bill Cowher.
Well, they get to buy as losing free agents when they didn't have the injuries and the problems they've had in their line and at quarterback position.
Second and 10. McNair into the flat, and it's incomplete. Disconnected with Eddie George.
Well, Eddie George just didn't turn around and look for the ball fast enough. McNair did a very quick job of reading on that play, but when he saw what he was getting, he flipped that thing right out to Eddie George, and that ball was like 2-3 feet away from George by the time he turned his head.
McNair for the day, 12 of 29 for really modest yardage. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Derek Mason on the field. Third and 10 now. 6:10 to go, third quarter.
Well, they completed a couple of third down plays in this drive, third and long.
Wycheck sets up to the right. Brooks is coming. Reggie White. The pass is incomplete. Reggie White was that far from his 17th sack of the season.
Reggie White is begging Bill Carollo, saying he's in my draft. Look at him working against Runyon. Just does a quick arm over. And the reason he's able to get back there for a sack, or for an attempted sack, is the fact that McNair scrambling out opens it up for Reggie White. That was not a bad job by Runyon. It's the matter that Reggie White had an open, clear shot at the quarterback.
Nice and high by Hendricks. And the fair catch taken by Mike Pryor, number 39. 31-yard punt. Packers lead 24-7.
In the financial world, to survive, you must keep on the move. It is not a world for the hesitant or the timid. Sometimes, to defend against larger, fiercer competitors, your best choice is merger or acquisition. But beware, lest your careful, well-planned strategy could result instead in failure or doom. In these troubled waters, experience, knowledge, and size are your best allies. If you're considering strengthening your company through merger or acquisition, think first of First Union. Wherever you plan to go, we have been there before. Come to the mountain called First Union. Or if you prefer, the mountain will come to you.
What is it, Eve?
Victor, I think he knows something.
9484, Tigers by 10. No one said this would be easy.
I don't care if it's easy, Rudy. I love you.
Dreams of
Talking like that, you'll become like me.
It may be just what you need to break out of your routine. The four-wheel drive CRV from Honda.
That's one. Uh-oh. Dang it, you saw it.
American Rick, the Daytona 500, only on PBS Sports.
5:56 to go in the third. 24-7 Green Bay. Vern Lundquist, Randy Cross, and Phil Mapoya with you. It has been a day of big plays.
We keep hammering on that fact, but no team has been in the red zone. And, of course, the red zone, for those of you that might not know, is when you get in that plus 20 area and in towards the goal line. And this has been long-range strike.
And off to Levin. And he's going to be put behind the line, chased out of bounds by Eddie Robbins. Now let's go back to our NFL studios and check in with Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, here's the play that happened on the last update. Jeff Blake going long. In fact, 60 yards is what it is. To Darnay Scott, they botched the two-point try, but the Bengals lead by a point midway third. Back to you.
Jeff Blake will go long.
Especially in that type of a pass. He drops them out of the sky. He does not throw them on a rope. He throws rainbows.
24-7, second and 12. In the snow at Lambeau. Here's Favre, 3 touchdowns already today. Under pressure, lets it go. And it is incomplete as Lonnie Mark got to Brett Favre about the time the ball was released.
These are the kind of shots and the kind of pounding that Brett Favre has had to take because people are covering his receivers down the field. You're getting a blitz on the outside, a blitz from Blaine Bishop. Lonnie Mark comes in at the very end and just sort of hammers the quarterback. Those of you that are wondering, Brett Favre was outside, that tight end tackle box that delineates that area of grounding because there wasn't a receiver anywhere near where he threw it.
3rd and 12. Favre, who has a 35-yard run, scrambles here, but is caught and dropped by Harry Killens, number 50, and has a little mud pie on his helmet. There's Killens, who was out here in shorts 2 hours before the game.
And excited to be here, but, one place that Brett Favre's not going to be too excited to be of late is in that pocket because his receivers are covered down the field, and it's forcing him to get out there and go for those dirt clods on his helmet.
Here's Landella. Up in the air. And a fair catch called by Mason. Makes the grab at the 45-yard line. 4:40 to go in the third. Oilers have the ball, but they trail by 17.
That won't fill you up and never let you down.
While we were away, a tribute played honoring Reggie White on the jumbo scoreboard here. And just a moment ago, Reggie acknowledged the chant of the crowd. The single most significant free agent signing ever for the Green Bay Packers. Here's McNair, and Reggie White comes. Good block by Runyon, and McNair's pass is complete. The Yankees stick down at the 82-yard line. At the 40-yard line. That was a significant accomplishment, the 82-yard line.
Some very significant things have happened in the tenure of Ron Wilson here as the general manager, and Mike Holmgren came here to Green Bay. You've had Reggie White come here, that great trade that brought Brett Favre here from the Atlanta Falcons. You could argue with maybe a little bit more of a huge hit to this football team than signing Reggie to the defense.
24-7. Reggie White signed in April. In 1992, the Green Bay defense finished the season ranked 23rd in the National Football League. He came in the spring of 93, and at the end of the 93 season, the Packers were ranked second.
There's some people that just make guys play better around them. Reggie's one of those kind of guys that just makes people think they're better, period.
2nd and 3. The handoff to Eddie George at the 31. As we said, while we were away, they played the tribute to Reggie White, and this was his response to the crowd at the end of that tribute. Now let's check in in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Vern, you mentioned that Reggie White will be remembered for the statement he made for Green Bay when he was first signed here as a free agent. Mike Holmgren said that was big, and I'll finish this up after the play.
3rd and 1. Quarterback sneaks to the 30-yard line, and that appears to be enough. Let's go back to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Mike Holmgren said that was big. No one believed we could do anything like sign Reggie White up here. Dorsey Levin said Reggie put Green Bay on the map. And Brett Favre said simply, I'm so happy I had a chance to play with this guy, Vern.
Mike Holmgren, chatting with all of us yesterday morning, said, let me tell you about Reggie White. I don't agree with a lot of the opinions he expresses, but he is my friend. And he is an honest man, and that's the best thing I can say about him. Here's Eddie George to the 30-yard line. 24-7 here. Let's go back and check in with Jim Nance.
It's a huge day for the Giants. It's Kent Graham really coming out now. Quarterback draw in for the touchdown. He's also thrown for a score. 28-0 Giants. And that's just in the 3rd quarter. Let's go back to Vernon Randy.
All right, Jim, we have an injury here. Darren Sharper, who is playing in place of the injured Craig Newsom, is down at the 30-yard line. Time has been called while the medical staff pays attention to Darren Sharper. We'll return to Lambeau in just a moment. Darren Sharper, who is destined to play cornerback for this team and started there today, injured on that last play.
Hey, he basically gets himself caught up in a pile-up working against Yancey Big Ten. As he comes over the top of this pile, a couple of his teammates come in at the same time, bend them all every which way.
So Rod Smith is in at left corner now. 2nd down, 11. Oilers at the 30. Here, fires it across the middle. Caught by Big Ten, touchdown.
And Vern, we still have not had a team get in the red zone. Another touchdown from outside. A great job by the Tennessee Oilers offense of flooding one side of the field and bringing Yancey Big Ten back across the other side and running straight up the field, all of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 weeks ago against this same defense, making big plays and breaking tackles.
And Randy, the minute Sharper went out at corner and Rod Smith came in, they went right at it.
Go at him, why not? You flood one side, you set up a one-on-one on the other. Got sort of a NBA sound to it, doesn't it? If there was such a thing.
Greco. Yancey Sickman, who of course was signed as a free agent off of the Pittsburgh roster. Another one of those losses for the Steelers. Remember 1995? You were here at Christmas Eve.
I was here for this game. 24-19. Packers. 4th down. Pittsburgh. Going to win the game with a completion. Yancey Big Ten has it and drops it and immediately became the most beloved non-Packer in the state of Wisconsin because that gave Mike Holmgren and the Packers a home playoff game and the Packers' first divisional title in a whole long time.
Mike Holmgren said he never saw the drop, but he heard the crowd.
And what happened on this play from McNair, everything to the right of the screen is flooded out because there's 2 receivers over there. You got Rod Smith, 31, working against Yancey, and Bigton has watched his tape. He saw what the Tampa Bay receivers did two weeks ago, creating space after the catch, just heading straight up the field, and he gets himself sick. If you're not used to seeing the Tennessee Oilers, folks, do not bury them too soon. They do not have much quick quit in them.
Hendrick will kick off for the Oilers. This one's short and picked up by Preston near the 20. Almost breaks it. Anthony Dorsett made the tackle at the 36-yard line. Coming tomorrow on CBS, kick off a night of comedy with Cosby, followed by an all-new episode of the show. Critics are comparing to Seinfeld, The King of Queens. Then Monday night's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. An all-new episode of Monday's new hit comedy Becker, starring Ted Danson, followed by L.A. Doctors. That's the Monday lineup on CBS.
Thought you were going to throw another synthesis on top of King of Queens. Steve McNair, he does not have pre-stats, but he is being effective on plays that are open, like that one that's that.
Here's Favre, and Levin going left. James Roberson made the tackle.
Hey, James Roberson does a nice job, and this defense has played very well against the run since Roberson's been in there. But, you know, we talked about how the stats of McNair weren't pretty. When you look at Brett Favre, you know, they are pretty. There's very few quarterbacks you can look at stats as far as career-wise, touchdowns-wise. Sure, he's had the interceptions this year, but a lot of that's been because he's had to try to make plays.
2nd and 12, West coming. Fires it up. Caught Derek Mays, the third-year wide receiver from Notre Dame. Mays.
Hey, Derek Mays is just set up on a play like this. Look at Favre the entire way has made his mind up where this ball is going. And Mays has been bothered by a knee injury. He's not one of the healthy receivers. In fact, I don't think they have a healthy receiver. Maybe Russell Copeland, now in the game number 16, would be the healthy receiver because he was just signed in the last week or two.
For the day, Favre, 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Levens cuts back. Crosses the 50 down at the 48. Eddie Robinson makes the tackle as we near the end of 3.
Hey, you'd expect to see an awful lot more of that. Little short, conservative passes by the Packers trying to break some tackles, and an awful lot of Dorsey Levens. Levens says, I'm not in football shape yet. Mike Holmgren might give him enough carries that he might get close.
End of 3 at Lambeau with the score 24-14 Green Bay. We will return to Green Bay, Wisconsin right after this message and this word from your local station.
An American soldier stands accused on foreign soil.
No, sir.
Based on actual events.
United States Navy's on trial.
That is CBS Today. Happy holidays, and thanks for making CBS America's most watched network.
Clock is running down. Mother's Window Tint, your digital phone and auto security headquarters goes deep for the sale of the season. Get a free digital phone. Get a $60 rebate when you sign up on the Digital Edge rate plan. Free talk time on weekends. Free activation. Free digital phone. $60 rebate. Free talk time all weekend, every weekend. Free activation. Mother's Window Tint. Tint and alarm special, just $149. Any car, any truck, just $149. Get a free remote control alarm. Tint and alarm. Remote control alarm, just $149. Mother's Window Tint. Remember, do it at Mother's and save. Tired of the same old sleigh? Then come to Ingram Park Chrysler Plymouth Jeep, where we say, yes, we can. To putting you in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee or Plymouth Voyager for just $299 a month. That's right, the awesome 99 Jeep Grand Cherokee or the minivan with more room than Santa's sleigh, the 99 Plymouth Grand Voyager. Both just $299 a month. And with any new or used car purchase, we'll give you a $300 gift certificate to spend now at Ingram Park Mall. So get a great deal and $300 in Christmas money. Ingram Park Chrysler Plymouth Jeep.
Shopping during the holidays can be really expensive. You buy something for Dad? Something for Sis? Well, when are you going to do something for yourself? Well, during the Chevy Make Your Money Count year-end event.
Get a Chevy Suburban Smart Buy for just $399 a month for 38 months with $2,650 down. Final payment $21,787.92. Suburban just $399 a month.
So do something for yourself this year at the Chevy Dealers Make Your Money Count year-end event.
Chevy Suburban just $399 a month only at your Texas Chevy dealer.
Home 5 invites you to donate to Toys for Tots today.
We begin the start of the fourth quarter from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, and we begin with Brett Favre on the sideline. Doug Peterson has gone on and taken his place as quarterback for the Packers. And not sure if Favre was injured. They're checking, believe it's his hand. 2nd down and 5. And here is Doug Peterson, 6th-year quarterback from Northeast Louisiana. For the season, 10 of 17. He comes in on 2nd down and 5 and hands it off to Dorsey Levens, who is caught and dropped at the 45-yard line. That will set up a 3rd down.
Yeah, being the backup quarterback for Brett Favre in Green Bay, everybody might think it'd be a terrible thing to be. Gee, you never get to play, but, you don't have to have too much of a history lesson to know that there's a guy down in Jacksonville, Mark Brunell, that was a backup quarterback here in Green Bay for a while, became a very coveted free agent because of the education that Doug Peterson gets, from Sherman Lewis and from Andy Reid as quarterback coach, and especially from Mike Holmgren, the head coach.
3rd and 1 with Peterson on in place of Favre. Handoff Levens, heads right, and that will be, depending on the spot, I think it's short of the 1st down. Steve Jackson. Henry Ford, numbers 24 and 92, make the tackle. So the Packers, Brett Favre on the sideline and with the jacket on. And they will stop the clock for a measurement now to see if indeed Green Bay got the first out. Hand or hip? It looks like maybe it's the hip.
All the scrambling and running around, we keep talking about the shots that he's taken. They're getting a little bit of ice on that hip area for Brett Favre. You know, he keeps taking the pounding. He's got that 108 starts in a row, and this is not a situation where Mike Holmgren, you'd expect him to pull Brett Favre out of a football game, so that's got to really be bothering Brett Favre. And what's really bothering the crowd right now is the fact that Mike Holmgren wants to punt here, but that is a very smart decision.
Landetta comes up, excuse me, Randy.
Fourth and about 2 foot, Vern. You don't want to give a team you've got down 24-14 an extra spark if you don't get that first down.
Derek Mason inside the 10. Yep, they're 11. Yep, and I'm the 11.
When you're the kick returner, you want to be sure to cipher on that real quick. Make sure you got enough for urine.
As opposed to his.
That's right.
4th and 2 feet. Here's Landetta. Nice and high. And the fair catch taken by Derek Mason at the 10-yard line. A 34-yard punt for Landetta. A push punt. Effective.
Via the PR staff that Brett Favre was pulled from this game simply because, quote, it was time. But I'm having a tough time being convinced of that because he is being nice and he does show signs of limping. Vern, Randy?
Yeah, I agree, Michelle. I don't think it was time to put that ice bag down his hip.
It was always time to get him out when he's hurt.
That pass. We take a sometimes circuitous path to find out what's wrong with players. Yancey Thigpen makes the grab. 24-14.
And the one thing that Steve McNair and his offense do not want to do is get a little frustrated in this spot. You got over 13 minutes to go in this game. This defense is going to keep making you do the short passes. Keep making those passes and try to make them into a big play.
Oilers go left to the 20-yard line and appear to have gotten enough for the first down. Santana Dotson, number 71, makes the tackle.
But it's been a rough day on Brett Favre. He has taken a serious beating. Not only does he go down there on his right hip, but he gets knocked out of bounds. But he's gotten pounded there onto the same right side as he grabs it. He had a 35-yard scramble earlier. That one he tripped up, but not an easy day for Brett Favre. But you know, a quarterback like Brett Favre wouldn't have it any other way.
1st and 10, Oilers trailing by 10. 12:30 to go in the game. To Eddie George, and a great job by Bernardo Harris of seaming across laterally and making the tackle.
Well, what makes it such a good reaction, too, is you got to look how far away Bernardo Harris comes. Look, he's even with Steve McNair here in the middle of the field. Look where Eddie George is. He's got a head start on Bernardo Harris. He zeroes in the whole way on his responsibility, that running back, and gets over and makes that play. And that is what makes these Green Bay linebackers so special. They're good against the run, and they run sideline to sideline so well for Fritz Sherman.
Shotgun on 2nd and 10. McNair steps up, heaves it. He had a man open, Thigpen, but he was off balance when he made the throw. Kerry Cook, number 45, was defending. It'll be 3rd down.
And those are the type of throws, too, when you have that turf toe like Steve McNair has, where you're just trying to be sure you step forward and get that right step and really get that touch pass off. You know, he talked about that's one of the hardest things he has is when he throws those little touch passes, he has to rely on that foot. He knows it's going to hurt, but he's got to plant it and step on it anyway.
Reggie White hasn't gotten a sack today. He got to McNair once as McNair released the ball. This one dribbled back. That will go as a sack, and it will go to Brian Williams, number 51. And that will be 4th down.
When we talk about the field conditions, when you're snapping a shotgun snap, the ball can get into a divot. Look at Mark Stepkowski with the ball. The ball gets into sort of a divot situation. It's on the ground, and it drags back through the ground and never gets airborne. That is not so much on the center as it is on the condition.
Roel Preston. And this one is dribbled back. Kendrick gets rid of it. Preston at the 43. To the 45 of the Oilers. 42-yard punt and a 13-yard return. 11-17 remaining in regulation.
It's sponsored by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. Sun America, the retirement specialist. And by the United States Army, be all you can be.
Tennessee Oilers lost to Seattle 3 weeks ago and have won 2 since. Brett Favre has led Green Bay to a 10-point victory now, but he is on the bench, and Doug Peterson is in at quarterback for the Packers, who have a first down at the Tennessee 45-yard line. Handoff Dorsey Levens, who breaks it loose and gets down to the 37 before Steve Jackson and Joe Bowden make the tackle, an 8-yard gain.
And this is the ingredient Mike Holmgren's really looking to add to this offense. Just feeding Dorsey Levens the ball more and more, getting some nice blocks up front by Dellenbach there, the center, backside with Alan Timmerman, and Levens looking more and more like the Pro Bowler of last year with that good power running.
53 yards on 19 carries today. 2nd and 2. Levens comes left. And that will be enough to give Green Bay a first down at the 34-yard line. This Tuesday on JAG, an American soldier is accused of a crime that puts Harm Mack and the entire U.S. Navy on trial. Don't miss JAG Tuesday on CBS. 1st and 10 Packers. They will finish the regular season next week at Chicago. Second time they will have played the Bears in 3 weeks. And then probably go on the road as a wild card 5th seed in the playoffs.
As we speak right now, it would be at San Francisco, and another one of the matchups from 2 great football teams.
Tackled by Steve Jackson, number 24. And of course, we mentioned that Tennessee needs a victory here. They've got Minnesota next week. Tennessee currently with an 8-6 record. Last we heard, New England was losing to San Francisco. That would be a critical defeat for them. And really, the Oilers must win today, and they must win next week, I would think, Randy, to get in.
And they have Green Bay today, and they have Minnesota next week. And it's debatable as to, how badly Minnesota will need to beat Jeff Fisher's football team and how motivated they're going to be. But they first got to get over this hole. They're down by 10 now.
Here's the blitz, and the pass to Freeman. And Antonio Freeman getting close to a 200-yard day. Darrell Lewis makes the tackle.
And much like the Tennessee Oilers have done, too, this is just the decision of seeing a soft defense and saying, look, let's get the ball to our receiver, and let's see what he can do with it once he catches it. And he breaks that tackle by Darrell Lewis, and gets right through there for a first down.
Freeman 7 for 186 yards, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half. First down at the 25. Peterson, all in places up far, backward in the eye. Here's the toss to Levens. Comes left, gets down to the 21. Well, with Brett Favre resting and Doug Peterson on, who is the number 3 quarterback for the Green Bay Packers? Rick Meyer, one-time 2nd pick in the draft 6 years ago when he was picked behind Drew Bledsoe. And Meyer played at Seattle and had that unsuccessful stint in Chicago, and now the 3rd-string quarterback here.
And Mike Holmgren says he's very encouraged by the progress this quarterback's making and how he's learning how to play the quarterback position again and how he's really learning this offense. But, he did tell us something the other day I thought was extremely telling, and even I picked up on it when Mike Holmgren said, I was really looking forward to seeing Rick Meyer playing in the preseason next week. Next year.
There's the handoff to Dorothy Levens. Yeah, there's so much speculation about Mike Holmgren tenure with this team. Mike has 1 year left on his contract. The Green Bay Press-Gazette reported that an offer was made late last summer to retain or extend his contract at $4 million per season. And Holmgren elected to put it on the table and leave it there while he explored other offers.
It's not about money for Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren has won a championship as a coach. I think Mike Holmgren wants to win a championship or get the chance to do it building his own organization and his own team. I think this is his last home game at Lambeau Field. He's going to move on and try it somewhere else after this.
That pass incomplete to William Henderson, and that brings up a 4th down. Now, Mike, 50 years of age now, and contractually he has a 21-day window of opportunity. And if he is offered a job as general manager and coach during that 21-day period, he is free to be released from his contract and take that offer.
I think he and his coaching staff have done the best job of their tenure here in Green Bay, the coaching job they've done with this football team this year, with the injuries and everything else. I think his status has not been a factor.
Ryan Longwell from 40. That helps the Packer cause. 7:27 remaining. The title years of the 50s and 60s. Paul Hornung, one of the greats of Green Bay history. Remaining, and Ryan Longwell, who just offered that 40-yard field goal, will kick it off. Mike Archie, the deep man for the Tennessee Oilers. Taken by Archie, far side of the 20, and out to the 28-yard line before the tackle is made. First and 10, Tennessee. And they trail by 13 points in a game they must win.
Honey, I'm going to Staples to pick up a few gifts. Be back soon.
Attention, shoppers. Looking for the perfect gift? Well, check out Aisle 3 for great prices on Sharp Mobile Organizers. And save on Panasonic phones. No, not you! You! Yeah. And or any husband would love one of those nice global chairs. I need a leather one. Get a leather chair.
For great gift ideas and over 7,000 items at guaranteed low prices at Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
The new Saturn Coupe has better pickup than a Maserati. After a Little League game, anyway. The world's first three-door coupe from Saturn. Why didn't anyone think of this before?
What? Turn the pizza around! It's stuffed crust! Eat it backwards! Carry on!
In case you forgot, you're supposed to eat stuffed crust backwards. With a ring of cheese sticks right into the crust, it's the most fun you can have with the pizza. Right now, the larger one topping is only $9.99. Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof.
Do you have to work here?
I'm not housebroken.
Go double dating.
Did I tell you that Spence sells tokens on the subway?
That's the way to impress her.
It's the King of Queens.
So far, so good.
And all new episodes, CBS Monday.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Staples, the office superstore, and by Energizer Advanced Formula. No battery lasts longer.
7:17 remaining in regulation, 27-14. Reggie White and the Packer defense on the field now as Steve McNair comes back in the cockpit for the Tennessee Oilers. Packers will be in the playoffs, but in all likelihood, this will be Reggie White's last game at Lambeau. They finish out the regular season next week in Chicago and then on the road for the playoffs. First down and 10. Here's McNair. Across the middle for Wycheck, who hangs on despite the pop he received from George Kuhn. Well, next Sunday, 1 week from today, the NFL Today begins at 12 Eastern Time. time, and then a doubleheader for you on the final weekend of the regular season. Most of you will see New England versus the Jets in Game 1. And here, left side, is McNair. Out to Eddie George. Tackled by Tyrone Williams, number 37. Eddie George on the ground today. Tough day. 15 carries, 30 yards.
And until the passing game of the Tennessee Oilers really progresses to a down-the-field type, where they can really threaten people and stretch it, Eddie George in the running game is going to suffer.
Third down, that one tipped in the line, and the flag is thrown.
The ball was tipped before the tug. That's what the defense is claiming. Before that tug on the back of Yancey Thigpen, defense is claiming the ball was tipped.
There's no infraction on the play. The ball was tipped. Incomplete pass. Fourth down.
Bernardo Harris, 55, the right side of your screen right there. Contact tip, almost simultaneous, but in slow motion. That's a great call by the officials. The official inside calling the tip is right, and so is the guy deep middle calling that bump on Bernardo Harris.
4th and 2, and the Oilers facing a 13-point deficit. Will go for it with 6:27 to go. McNair, chased by Reggie White. There's a fumble. McKenzie got there. Reggie White got there. Reggie White, in his 14-year career, has sacked 71 different quarterbacks.
Well, McKenzie 95 and Reggie 92. Do a little bit of see you at the quarterback.
Now, the interesting thing, Randy, is do they share the sack here?
I don't think so. McKenzie clearly is the reason that is a sack. Reggie is first come, first serve.
But you're being pragmatic and not sentimental.
No, first come was McKenzie. First clean up was by Reggie.
First down and 10. Backs in the eye. 27-14. 11 to the 20-yard line. Coming up next, the Chevy Truck Celebrity Ski Classic featuring downhill skiing. That's next on CBS. Billy Kidd is in that.
Well, that's in your hometown.
Thank you very much.
You were waiting, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Where it's snowing, I might add.
Reggie and Brett Favre, they've had a special relationship since Reggie showed up here, too. Reggie's been such a calming influence and leadership influence, I think, as an entire team. Reggie's influence, I think, has really helped Brett mature as a football player.
11 to the 16. 5:27 to go, and the Packers will work on the clock. Joe Bowden made the tackle. Well, Mike Holmgren was sharing some memories of Reggie White last night or yesterday morning with us. Said his favorite really came at the end of the 1995 season. Reggie was out with a hamstring, and the doctors had said it's going to be the end of the season for him. And Mike said he went out of his home to turn off the Christmas lights at midnight on a Thursday before a game in New Orleans that weekend. And Reggie White was standing on his front porch, and in that hoarse voice of Reggie's with which we've all grown so familiar, he said, "Coach, I can play." And he did. Here comes Levin. Kenny Holmes, number 99.
Well, what has Reggie done today in his last game at Lambeau Field? Contributed to a very good defensive effort. Given the big club move to Runyon, giving the arm over to Runyon and pressure to McNair. And on that last sack of Steve McNair, taking that run option away so McKenzie can get his sack. Pretty fitting close to Reggie White's career here with the Packers. His performance today.
4:10 to go in regulation. And on second down, Peterson will throw. No, he won't. Lonnie Martin gets the tackle. The tackle. That's a combination.
We've got a new stat, folks. We've got a few minutes left in this game. You want to explain that stat to us?
I think tackle makes sense.
A tackle? A tackle. A tackle. Does that count as a
sack and a tackle?
You only get a sackle when it's less than 25 degrees.
Doesn't sackle have to be boiled before it's served?
Yes. And preferably served with cream and sugar.
Ronnie Mars gets himself another sack here.
That's a sackle. 3rd and 17. Tell you what, if I don't go on a diet soon, I'm going to be sackled. Left side, knocked down. James Roberson, number 90.
Working against Ross Verba, and watch Roberson, number 90, right here. And what he does working against Ross Verba isn't getting there, but he gets the hands up, and Pedersen tries to put that right over Verba's right ear past his helmet, and Roberson knocks that down. Roberson originally here was a linebacker as a rookie with the Green Bay Packers, lasted through part of training camp, and coach had told him, you come on some weight, you could be a defensive lineman. And he is. Ryan Longwell will try his second from 40 yards.
And he knocks it on for 40 yards.
Well, we've had 44 points scored in this football game, and no one's got inside the 20-yard line.
Jeff Fisher's bunch now trailing by 16 with 3:32 remaining. Well, the Oilers lost that game in Seattle, and Jeff said, we need to win 4 in a row to round up the season. We've got a chance to get in the playoffs. They made it 2. This would have been the 3rd. They trailed by 16 here with 3:32 to go.
Hey, and they ran into a football team in the Green Bay Packers, Burns, by all common sense, had no real reason to be too excited about playing a big game today. Tampa lost yesterday, and that put them in the playoffs. But I think guys like Reggie White, guys like Brett Favre, people like Antonio Freeman are big leaders in this football team. Leroy Butler. And his team decided that this is Reggie's last game. We're playing our last game of the year here at Lambeau Field. This might be Mike Holman's last game as a head coach at Lambeau Field. Let's win it. They've really done a great job of taking this game away from a football team that had all the motivation in the world in the Tennessee Oilers. Go ahead and hit me. I almost said it.
You were the first, and you almost made the whole game 3 minutes and 32 seconds to go. To the relief of all of us, they're now the Oakland Raiders again. I had that trouble for a long time. Here's the kick, taken by Rodney Thomas. And he's out to the 27-yard line. Now, Reggie White, 37 years of age yesterday, 14 years in the league. This is his final season. And meanwhile, down in our truck, Joe DeVonzo, Joe the Hammer DeVonzo. 17 years working in graphics at CBS. And he's going to begin a new career as a restaurant owner in Oyster Bay, New York. Joe, we'll miss you and Merry Christmas. Reggie White was asked about his favorite game here. And he picked the game in his first season against the Denver Broncos on a Sunday night when he had back-to-back sacks from John Elway to preserve a 30-27 victory. McNair, right side. Whitehead with another catch. Tackle made by Leroy Butler.
Well, this defensive staff of the Green Bay Packers has done such a wonderful job of laying off this Tennessee Oilers offense. They played a soft version of what they normally do. Normally, you've got 8 guys in the box with Leroy Butler. You haven't had that here today for Fitz Summer's defense. Very soft and very good tackling.
Right there, that's made in front of Tyrone Williams by Kevin Dyson, number 87.
There's Fitz Summer, the defensive coordinator, just doing the whole deal. He's still doing his signaling, trying to stop this offense.
McNair steps up and goes left. That's made by Willie Davis, one of the off-injured Tennessee Oilers, and they scramble up to get out of play with that calling timeout.
Reggie Wright getting a little pushing match with John Runyon.
3-man defensive front now. They go left side. Whitehead.
Clock's going to keep running.
And now a timeout is called before the 2-minute warning. So the Oilers used one of their allotment of 3.
Coming tonight on CBS, the righteous indignation he brought to the roles of Moses and Ben-Hur, Charlton Heston now brings to a new role. President of the NRA. That's 60 Minutes tonight. And it's Christmas Eve on Touched by an Angel with guest stars Randy Travis and John Cullum. And Roma Downey and Hector Elizondo star in Borrowed Hearts, the holiday romance on the CBS Sunday movie, all tonight on CBS. 2:01 to go in regulation. Oilers will fall to 8-7, head back home to close out the season against Minnesota next week. Next year, a new name and a new home in Nashville.
Tennessee Titans, their new logo is going to be unveiled this coming Tuesday by their owner, Bud Adams. And a beautiful new stadium to play in.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd down and 1. Across the middle, caught by Mason. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. Actually, we've reached the 1-minute and 54-second warning. Reggie White, his name will be added to the pantheon of great players in Green Bay history. Now 2 years in the USFL, followed by a 14-year career in the National Football League, and 5 years from the end of the season, Reggie White's going to just go right to Canton, Ohio.
And I was so disappointed when I was a player of the year of the strike. We were scheduled to go to Philadelphia and play against that great defense they had there, and they robbed us. I didn't get to play against them. Oh, darn.
Reggie White on the sideline. McNair. Catch is made at the 15 by Yancey Thigpen, and the stop made by Kerry Cooks, number 45.
Yeah, this is going to be a heck of an offense next year. I think when their coordinator, Les Kick, will get some time to really work with these receivers and give us more of a vertical look down the field to open up the running game also.
Into the flat. That one caught by Michael Rowan, rather. Number 80.
Yeah, one thing you don't spend much time talking about really around the country, you don't hear much of, is what a lucky quarterback Steve McNair is. You know, these young quarterbacks nowadays, they get thrown in and just here, go do it. And people get mad and boo because they don't play well. McNair got to sit and learn for 2 years, and he really said it was invaluable to watch Chris Chandler and how he ran the offense and what his thought process was before he had to come in there and start doing it himself.
First and goal, Tennessee. Little shovel pass. Frank Wycheck, and that one diagnosed immediately by Keith McKenzie and Scott McGarren. And Jeff Fisher says, let's call timeout. Well, this is such a special place for any of us to visit and anybody to play here. Jeff Fisher said the last time he was here was in 1987.
That 87 during a replacement?
Yeah, came up here during the strike with the replacement team. And Fisher is first back. Vince Lombardi, 1959 to 67. They, of course, won world championships. 65, 66, and 67. Jim Taylor out of the state of Louisiana. And Forrest Gregg from Southern Methodist University. Later a coach in the NFL, in the Hall of Fame as an offensive tackle.
Yeah, the early prototype of that big physical movement type tackle.
Second down. That one's out of bounds. No, they're going to say he is inbound. Yancey Thigpen. And the stop made. Tyrone Williams defending. Under a minute. McNair drills it in the end zone. Touchdown. Derek Mason gets his second.
Hey, just a nice job by Jeff Fisher's quarterback, Steve McNair, in this offense, just patiently grinding this ball down the field in 10, 12, 15-yard increments to get themselves this touchdown. The last completion of the sideline to Thigpen kept that clock running, gets immediately over the ball, and puts this ball into Mason. Look out for this football team next year. Jeff Fisher is going to have a playoff contender again next year.
Oilers will go for 2, trailing by 10. 2 points here, onside, touchdown and 2 points. Here's Eddie George. They trail by 8. With 53 seconds to go and 1 timeout left.
This is just a gimme as McNair looks like an option quarterback just flipping this ball out and not at an end-to-end flip. Watch the ball come spinning out when McNair throws this ball. Got a pull by John Runyon. The big tackle comes out. This was easy. And now suddenly, if you're Green Bay Packers on the sideline, you sort of relax. You've seen the tributes to Reggie and the tributes to Jim Irwin and Max McGee. You've had this big lead, a little bit of letdown. The defense lets his offense go bang, 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 bang. And suddenly now, if you're Johnny Holland, the special teams coach in the middle of this huddle here for the Green Bay kickoff team, you've got to get your guys pumped up. I mean, a real sense of urgency. Because this offense can move the ball on the Green Bay defense.
53 seconds to go. 1 timeout left for the Tennessee Oilers. They trail by 8 at 30-22.
That was Johnny Holland in that yellow vest. He wears that so it's easier for his players to identify him on the sideline. But, you know, he's got to be telling his hands team what's out there right now. This is easy. They're all going to line up on one side. They're going to push it over there. You're going to have blockers, and you have recovery guys trailing.
Hendrick and Del Greco both near the ball. Here's the onside attempt. Loose ball. Who got it? Green Bay got it.
Michael Blair, number 27, tried to feel that on a short hop. It bounced off him and then went about 2-3 yards away from him, but another Packer pounced on the ball and picked it up.
There's Blair. I think it might have been Butler. Nope, Mike Pryor. Number 39. It was Pryor who got there.
See, this ball is designed to go once, twice, and then big bounce. One bounce, and you see right there as he jumps in front of it, Michael Blair, the ball bounced off him. That was clearly a chance for a recovery. See, the ball bounces up, goes off of him. Where is it? Luckily for Green Bay, Pryor finds it just laying there. Very surprised you didn't have Tennessee Oilers all over that football. Just dive in as soon as that thing hit the ground.
50 seconds left. Oilers can only stop the clock 1 time. So Peterson will take a knee. Timeout signaled yet. Mike Holmgren. Will this be his final game as a coach in Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers? Reggie White. We're certain it's his final. And now the stand goes up as a tribute to a Hall of Famer. He ends his career in Green Bay's Lambeau Field without the sack he wanted so much. And he's got 1 regular season game left. There's Jeff Fisher and Mike Holmgren with the meeting at midfield.
They will give him credit for the interception. Let's take another look. Dunn is forced to the outside. Hawkins, he's out of bounds.
He is. That's another questionable call by the officials, and I think the fans agree with that.
And the official that was right on the play, his instinct was correct. The Cincinnati Bengals have pulled off the upset, and they have swept the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time since 1990. Bill Cowher will not go to the playoffs for the first time in his head coaching career. Another look at Hawkins. Great concentration to come up with the pick. But I tell you what, Cincinnati catches a break, and Pittsburgh, a team that has been hurt by officials already this season, You can tack one more on for the Steelers.
And I think the correct call was by the side judge that made the first call that it was not a reception. Then with the conference coming back at the end of the play, giving him the interception. And that's the problem with the NFL today. A lot of question marks about the officials and the officiating calls. And here's another one in our game in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
6 straight playoff appearances for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that streak has come to an end. The Cincinnati Bengals snap a 9-game losing streak to improve to 3-12 on the season. Steelers drop to 7-8. Artrell Hawkins clearly out of bounds on this pick. But the Bengals get the football and they seal the win. For Mark May, I'm Eagle saying so long from Pittsburgh. Cincinnati a winner today, 25-24. We'll send you to Jim Nantz in our NFL Today studio. Coming up after this message.
10-10-220 gives you the freedom to call anywhere in the U.S. and Canada for only 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes.